Hello indie game fans! More awesome indie games have surfaced, so let me show you some that I'm looking forward to, with a number of titles on Kickstarter that are worth supporting, and an ambitious title or two that looks pretty good. Let's begin with Souno's Curse, a title that I mentioned when covering Metroidvania games when covering the Steam Next Festival, video linked above if you missed it, where it does look to be inspired by Hollow Knight. I had to give it a mention since it is currently on Kickstarter at 72% funded and with plenty of time to go and should have no problems hitting their target, but check it out for stretch goals and rewards. One of the titles that was on my radar and then kind of fell off was Where Cards Fall, a puzzle game where you use a deck of cards in order to advance through the various dioramas that make up the levels, looking to be quite a beautifully animated title. It's an introspective title, having you reflect upon formative moments in your own life, and was actually released on Apple Arcade in 2019, hence why I forgot about it, but is getting PC and Switch versions very soon. I love my Zelda-style action-adventure games, so of course, I have to give a very special mention to Shrine's Legacy, one where you wield elemental magic and use it to fight against a great evil. It's an SNES-style RPG with influences from games like Zelda, Illusion of Gaia, and Secret of Mana, having quite a wonderfully nostalgic look and gameplay, which many indie games try to capture. However, the developers talk about not being afraid of getting weird, including out-of-left-field ideas where you can challenge businessmen wearing suits and luchador masks to a foot race, which may be a little immersion-breaking in this fantasy world, but could make it unique. I'll be transparent and say that this developer is a supporter of this channel and my work. We have exchanged some DMs and messages with them, but I do honestly believe that there's something to this game that will be of interest to you. As of recording, this game is about 60% funded with 18 days left on the campaign, and they sure have a full range of backer options and rewards, including a physical edition and more, making it a campaign page to check out. For as much as I love pixel art, I do have an appreciation for the hand-drawn, cartoony look as well, with the title of interest here being a Guidebook of Babel. This is a time-travelling point-and-click adventure game where you find yourself on board a cruise ship sailing into the afterlife, having to piece together what is happening on the ship and perhaps eventually reincarnate into your next life. Time loop and time travel mechanics in games can be excellent if done well, where of course the butterfly effect comes into play when you change the past, making this one for fans of the genre. One of the cutest and best looking games currently on Kickstarter is Ailuri, a collectathon action platformer with a message to tell, where you play as a red panda-like creature, fighting your way through the world, collecting essence and rescuing creatures based on real-life endangered animals. However, it's not a simple platformer but does have combat and boss fights as well, and while the animation isn't super fluid or polished, it does have a certain charm to it. It is already fully funded with one of the stretch goals including a very cute plushie of the main character, so check it out and support if interested.
Whatever this thing is, it kills people, and it's going to kill everyone in town if we don't stop it.
A title with a little bit of a strange Kickstarter campaign is Unusual Findings, a point-and-click adventure game that is set in the 80s, having some strong Stranger Things vibes. But I'm cautious on this title, since the game is supposed to be released next month, so I do wonder what the Kickstarter campaign is for.
Banga-banga-lang, you fool!
The campaign goals talks about multiple endings and some yet unannounced stretch goals, but honestly, it does seem like some form of pre-order campaign with various tiers of physical rewards.
What the hell was that? It wasn't a wolf, that's for sure. Let's fight!
However, the core game does look to be well made and of interest to fans of the genre, so I thought I'll give it a mention.
It's splattered everywhere.
This can't be good.
I don't know where the hell you came from, but you messed with the wrong mother.
Anyone else know that you...
I have very fond memories of Kynseed, a fantasy farming sim that has evolved so much since I first came across this title in 2018, even covering the game on this channel way back when. The developers have released a new trailer that shows off massive changes to the art style and even new mechanics, including what looks like a turn-based RPG combat element, which is way beyond what I expected. I remember this game being particularly interesting to me since it was from developers that worked on Fable, and they wanted to play with the concept of time passing in a game like Stardew Valley, where you can have children grow old and die, but can also continue to play as your children. As such, it was a very ambitious title, and it looks like the 3 years since the early access launch have gone tremendously well so far, making this another farming title to keep an eye on. A title that made quite an impact on Twitter when it was revealed was Exhausted Man, a floppy physics sim where you play as a very tired person trying to conserve as much energy by doing things lying down. It looks like a floppy physics title akin to Surgeon Simulator, where part of the fun is wrangling with the controls, although I'm not quite sure how much there will be to the game in terms of levels. However, as a very tired person myself, I can definitely relate to this character, where this trailer shows an insatiable thirst for coffee, making it something of interest to me. If you talk about ambition in games, look no further than Bitcraft, a beautifully rendered sandbox MMORPG that is looking to be so much more. The developers are taking the sandbox aspect quite literally, where instead of static, pre-built towns and cities, everything here is fully player-controlled, where you can turn a small village into a global city, bustling with commerce and trade, building your ports and city walls, and so much more. Apparently, this game takes place in a single, massive, procedurally generated world with the woodcutting, fishing, farming and exploration elements, although combat is curiously missing from this trailer. However, I don't know how many players this game is supposed to be able to support, and comes to us from a team, at least from their website, of just 11 people with some serious backing, so fingers crossed that they will be able to deliver.
Fudo the prisoner. Fudo the weak. Death will not release you from the shackles, no matter how far you run. Then come!
If you're in my Discord, you will know that I made the executive decision not to cover the Steam launch of Aeon Must Die, a fantastic looking brawler, but where the team was screwed over, not paid, and had their IP stolen, but you can read more about this in the article linked below. The original team has reformed as Mishura Games and are now making Immortal and The Death That Follows, one that has a similar look and is a roguelite beat-em-up inspired by fighting games and 90s anime, looking absolutely stunning, taking the #1 spot. For more beat-em-up titles, watch these videos and I will see you after the jump.